So I recently realised that I have done Classic Farm, 2 TBC farms, and a cattle farm, and have missed out on doing any Wrath of the Lich King. So I went out on a little scout to see if there was any Wrath of the Lich King skinning farms that were worth doing, and it's something that's quite odd. It varies wildly from server to server, and as far as I can tell, I can't find any particular reason as to why. So I went out looking for a skinning farm that would provide me with rare Wrath of the Lich King materials, and the material that I found that I wanted to farm was Jormungandr scales. So these Jormungandr scales are really difficult to get your hands on. You don't have a lot of options as to where you're going to get them, which is why I decided that I was going to go for the Ulduar method. Now, the main reason that I picked this method is because, as well as the skinning, I'm also going to be running the dungeon. There's a lot of reasons to run this raid, be it for transmog or the battle pets or the gold. You can sell all of these items to the shop for a great deal of gold. You can disenchant them and make the Tome of Illusions for Wrath of the Lich King. There's a lot of gold to be made by running this dungeon, and I figured if I was going to be killing these mobs anyway, then I may as well be skinning them and getting these scales. Now, because it's a raid, you aren't able to go out and reset the raid to reset the trash and kill these mobs, as they are only accessible after you've killed a few of the bosses. But if you put sufficient time between it, having killed and skinned all of the mobs, then you will be able to just come back at a later point and the mobs will naturally reset. As to how long this time frame is, I'm not entirely sure. I've had mixed reports. Personally, I just left it a whole day. I think it's probably only going to be like an hour, 2 hours, something like that. But I came back the next day and the mobs were there. I killed them again, and in my opinion, 2 full rounds got me enough scales that I feel it's going to be a while before I sell them all off. So I was happy to do it that way. Now, these scales vary in price, like I said, from server to server dramatically. So before you do this farm, you do want to check up on the prices. You aren't going to get very many of these scales. I think I got about 5 to 10 on any given run, and obviously that is not going to be a large supply. Now, one other thing worth noting, however, is that these mobs are beasts, and whenever you skin any beast in Wrath of the Lich King, you have a chance to get an Arctic fur. Now, you're not going to kill huge amounts of mobs with this farm, but the Arctic furs do add up. I think I got 3 in my 2 runs, and that is definitely worth considering, so I'll pop that up on the screen for you to see the prices, and you can factor that in when you're deciding the value of doing this particular farm for yourself. Now, as for the farm itself, you do need to clear up to and just past Dalaran on your way to Hodir. Now, to do this, if you just go in, do the first boss by whichever method is your preference, either using the vehicles or simply running to the end, killing the 2 giants and then killing the boss. Run straight on through the gates that have now opened after the Flame Leviathan. Kill XT, and then progress forward from the transporter, up the stairs, kill Dalaran. Go down the stairs to your right, and it is the first entryway on the right. Now, in this tunnel, this little ice tunnel that you see, there are these little snowdrifts on the side of the room. Now, you simply walk through the snowdrifts and they will continually spawn these Jormungandrs, playing Smite there, Jormungandrs. Now, these mobs are going to spawn like 1 a second for 5 or so seconds. So standing there waiting for them can be a little bit tedious. What I like to do is I like to run over a few of the snowdrifts, leave them spawning the mobs while I go and activate a few more, then come back, round up the mobs, kill and skin. Now, it is important to realise you do have to be quite accurate running over these snow piles, a bit like with the eggs in our Ulduar farm. So it is quite easy to see when you've activated. You'll see a little particle effect and the mobs will start spawning. Don't run away before you've actually activated it. And it's as easy as that. Just kill and skin the mobs. Now, in case you were looking for a farm that doesn't give these skills but is more repeatable, I went to the Ruby Sanctum. Now, the Ruby Sanctum, I want to make this clear, is only going to give you Borean leather. To my understanding, because they are Dragon King, they do not give Arctic fur, and in the 15 or so runs I've done, they don't give Arctic fur, for me at least. Maybe I've just been unlucky, but to my understanding it does have to specifically be beasts. So, all you're going to get from this is potentially a few pieces of transmog. I've not had anything of value yet, and I'm not so sure there is anything of particularly decent value in their drop files. But you are going to get about 60 Borean leather a run. Now, that doesn't sound all that impressive until you realise that the runs are at most about 2 minutes long. Now, that's actually pretty good. The Borean leather isn't worth an awful lot on my realm, but like I said, these prices vary massively from realm to realm, so before you undertake these farms, do check the prices for yourself to see if it's worthwhile doing. If it is, and Borean leather is worth your acquisition, then this is by far and away my favourite farm. You just go in, run a circle around the room, and don't pull the bosses. Easy as that. Pull everything back to the start of the room, and then AoE it down and skin it. I like to kill the first pack right at the start before I do the rest, just simply because it gets me the 5 stacks I need for my legendary buff. And then I just use my speed buffs, pull as efficiently as I can, lap the whole room, get back, AoE it down and skin it. Simple as that. Now if you find yourself in a position where the Borean leather is not particularly valuable for you, but the Arctic furs that we were looking at in Ulduar are particularly valuable to you, it is worth noting that these are purchasable with Borean leather. Now, the conversion rate is not particularly great, but if the value of the items is working in your favour, where Borean leather is quite cheap and you can farm it efficiently or even maybe buy it, and the Arctic fur is going to sell for very large amounts of money, it is worth noting that there is an NPC in Old Dalaran, that's the northern version of Dalaran that you'll be nearby with these farms, called Brag Stoutbeard. Now, Brag Stoutbeard will sell you Arctic furs. He costs, to my recollection, 10 heavy Borean leather per Arctic fur. And a heavy Borean leather can be crafted by leatherworkers with the Borean leathers that you are collecting from this farm at a rate of 6 Borean leathers to 1 heavy Borean leather. So, with that being said, at 6 to 1 and then 10 to 1 from there, that does mean it's going to cost effectively 60 Borean leathers per Arctic fur. So, you can make money off your auction house by buying the Borean leathers and converting it to the Arctic fur, and then selling the Arctic fur in the auction house, providing the Borean leathers are 1/60th of the price of Arctic fur or better. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider liking the video, it does help out a lot. If you want to be kept up to date with the future videos in this guide, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you do, and I also hope to see you in the next one. Later.